Hello class! Today we are going to do the Chapter 9 review test. You will need to tear out pages 551, 553, and 555. Number 1. Alexa and Rose read books that have the same number of pages. Alexa's book is divided into 8 equal chapters. Rose's book is divided into 6 equal chapters. Each girl has read 3 chapters of her book. Write a fraction to describe what part of the book each girl read. Then tell who read more pages. Explain. Okay, well let's write fractions to describe what part of the book each girl read. So Alexa, her whole book was divided into 8 equal chapters or parts. So we know that in her whole book there are 8 parts. So 8 is our denominator for Alexa. So Alexa, her denominator is 8, and she read 3 chapters of her book. Rose, her whole book is divided into 6 equal chapters. So her denominator is 6. She read 3 chapters. Well, if we look, the denominators are different. So, when a whole unit is cut into more equal parts, they are smaller because there have to be more of them, so it's smaller. So 3/8 is less than 3/6. We know this because the denominators are different. We know that the book with greater number of what? Of chapters will have fewer pages per chapter. Okay, number 2. Let's move this just a little bit. There we go. Okay, number 2. David, Maria, and Simone are shading same-size index cards for a science project. David shaded 2/4 of his index card, Maria shaded 2/8 of her index card, and Simone shaded 2/6 of her index card. For 2A through 2D, choose yes or no to indicate whether the comparisons are correct. Okay, so they have the same numerator, so we're going to look at the denominator. So we know that if there are 8 units in the whole, they are smaller than 4 units in a whole. Okay, so is 2/4 greater than 2/8? Yes, because these pieces are smaller because there are more of them. So 2/4 is greater than 2/8. 2b. We have 2/8 and they're saying it's greater than 2/6. Well, if we look, our numerators are the same, so now we will look to compare our denominators. We know that there are more pieces, which makes them smaller in 2/8 than 2/6. So 8s are smaller than 6, so is 2/8 greater than 2/6? No, it is not. 2C. 2/6 less than 2/4. Same numerator again, so we will look at the denominator. Sixths and fourths. Well, we know that there are going to be smaller pieces in the sixths because they're cut smaller because there are more of them. So, is 2/6 less than 2/4? Yes. 2D. We have saying 2/8 is equal to 2/4. They have the same numerator, so we'll look at the denominator. So if we have something that's cut into fourths, and we have something cut into eighths, we know that the eighths are going to be smaller pieces, so 2/8 is less than 2/4. So is this true? No, it is not. Okay, number 3. Dan and Miguel are working on the same homework assignment. Dan has finished 1/4 of the assignment. Miguel has finished 3/4 of the assignment. Which statement is correct? Mark all that apply. Miguel has completed the entire assignment. Well, Miguel has finished 3/4 of the assignment, so did he complete the entire assignment? The whole? No, only 3 out of 4 parts of the whole, so that is not true. Dan has not completed the entire assignment. Dan has finished 1/4, so 1 out of 4 parts of the assignment. So has he finished the whole assignment? No, he has not. So B is correct. C. Miguel has finished more of the assignment than Dan. Well, if we look at 3/4 and then Dan finished 1/4, we have the same denominator, so we're going to look at the numerator. So which one would have more shaded? 3/4. So 3/4 is greater than 1/4. So Miguel finished 3/4. So did Miguel finish more than Dan? He did. That is true. Okay. And D. Dan and Miguel have completed equal parts of the assignment. Do 3/4 and 1/4 equal each other? They do not. So that is false. Now we are going to move over to page 552. Number 4. Brian cut 2 peaches that were the same size for lunch. He cut 1 peach into fourths and the other into sixths. Let's cut 1 peach into fourths and 1 peach into sixths. Brian ate 3/4 of the first peach. 1, 2, 3 out of 4. His brother ate 5/6 of the second peach. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of 6. Who ate more peach? Explain the strategy we used to solve the problem. Well, we use the missing pieces strategy because we're looking at what's missing. So, what do we have left here? We have 1/6 left here and we have 1/4 left here. 1/6 and 1/4. So if you look at the numerators are the same, so if you look at the denominators, we know this was cut into smaller pieces. So 1/6 is less than 1/4. So since 1/6 is less than 1/4, a smaller piece was missing from his brother's peach. If at any point you need to pause to write this down, feel free to do so. Number 5. A nature center offers 2 guided walks. The morning walk is 2/3 mile. The evening walk is 3/6 of a mile. Which walk is shorter? Explain how you can use a model to find your answer. So, 2/3, so 1, 2, so 2/3 in the morning, and the evening is 3/6. 1, 2, 3. Which one is shorter? 3/6. So the evening walk is shorter. So the model for 2/3 oh no, we're looking for shorter. The model for 3/6 is shorter than the model for 2/3. Number 6. Chun lives 3/8 of a mile from school. Gail lives 5/8 of a mile from school. Use the fractions and symbols to show which distance is longer. Well, let's write 3/8 here and 5/8 here. They have the same denominator, so now we can look at the numerator, which is the shaded part. So if you have, is 3 less than or more than 5? 3 is less than 5. So 3/8 is less than 5/8. You could also do, if you wanted to write 5/8 first and 3/8 over here, you could say 5/8 is more than, because 5 is more than 3. Alright, moving on to page 553. Number 7. If you want to stop to get something that's straight to draw your lines, for number 7, feel free to do so. Mrs. Reed baked 4 pans of lasagna for a family party. Use the rectangles to represent the pans. Part A. Draw lines to show how Mrs. Reed could cut 1 pan of lasagna into thirds. Let's cut our first pan into thirds. Okay. 1 into fourths. One into sixths. Four, 5, 6. And 1 into eighths. I like to cut them in half first to try to make them equal. There's my fourths. Now I have to make eighths. Okay. At the end of the dinner, equivalent amounts of lasagna in 2 pans were left. Use a model to show lasagna that might have been left over. Write 2 pairs of equivalent fractions to represent the models. Okay, so she eats 1/3 of this. Can we have thirds in the fourths? No. Can we have thirds with the pan of sixths? Well, let's see. 1, there's 1/3. 2, 3. It's 3 groups of 2. So yes, so this is thirds. So if it was 1/3 here, we have to make 1/3 here, which is also equal to 2/6. So 1/3 is equal to 2/6. Now with the fourths, let's say she ate 1/4 of this pan. Then we have, can fourths go into sixths? No, because it would be right here. Can fourths go into eighths? Well, here's our half. Here's a fourth and a fourth. Yes. So she ate 1/4 there. That's how many eighths? 2/8. So we can have 1/3 is equal to 2/6, and we can have 1/4 is equal to 2/8. Number 8. Tom rode his horse for 4/6 of a mile. Liz rode her horse for an equal distance. What is an equivalent fraction that describes how Liz rode? Use the models to show your work. Well, if Tom rode 4, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. Let's see. If we color in 1/3, is that equivalent? No. If we color in 2, is that equivalent? Yes. So we know that 4/6 is equal to, how many are colored? 2 out of how many altogether? 1, 2, 3. 2/3. 4/6 is equal to 2/3. Number 9. Avery prepares 2 equal-sized oranges for the bats at the zoo. One dish has 3/8 of an orange. Another dish has 2/8 of an orange. Which dish has more oranges? Show your work. Okay, so we have we have 3/8 of an orange. 1, 2, 3, and 2/8 of an orange. 1, 2. Which dish has more oranges? Well, the dish with 3/8 of an orange has more because if you look, there's more here. So 3. Also, if you look this way, 3/8 and 2/8, they have the same denominator. So when you compare the numerators, 3 is bigger than 2. So 3/8 is greater than 2/8. So the dish with 3/8 of an orange has more. Alright, let's turn to page, oh here, just in case you didn't see. Alright, page 554. Jenna painted 1/8 of one side of fence. Mark painted 1/6 of the other side of the same fence. Use greater than, equal to, or less than to compare the parts they painted. Well, 1/8 and 1/6. So they have the same numerator, so now we need to compare the denominator, which means we have to compare the amount of equal parts. So if Jenna's fence has more equal parts, that means that they have to be smaller than sixths, because if you look, so they have equal holes. Well, if Jenna's is cut into eighths and Mark's is cut into sixths, you can see that 1/8 is smaller than 1/6. So 1/8 is less than 1/6. You can also write 1/6 is less than 1/8. So 1/8, oh my goodness. Sorry, Mrs. Douglas wrote her symbol backwards. 1/8 is less than 1/6, and 1/6 is greater than 1/8. Okay, number 11. Bill used 1/3 of a cup of raisins and 2/3 cup of banana chips to make a snack. For 11A through D, select true or false for each comparison. 11A, 1/3 to 2/3. Okay, so we have the same denominator, so when we look at the numerator, we're looking at the shaded part. So which one has more? Does 1 have more or does 2 have more? 2 has more. So 1/3 is less than 2/3, so this is incorrect. 11B, is 2/3 equal to 1/3? The same denominator again, so we're going to look at the numerator. 2 is greater than 1, so is this correct? It is not correct. 11C, 1/3 to 2/3, so same denominator. So we look and we're going to compare the numerator. Which one would have more shaded? It will be here. Let's draw this so we can see it as well. Okay, we're going to make thirds. Here's 1/3. There's 2/3. So we see that there's less shaded in the 1/3 and more shaded in the 2/3. So 1/3 is less than 2/3. That's correct. 11D, is 2/3 greater than 1/3? Our denominator is the same, so we're going to look at the numerators and see which one's larger, which one has more shaded. 2. 2 is bigger, so 2/3 is greater than 1/3, so that is true. Number 12. George, Lynn, and Crosby meet at the playground. George lives 5/6 of a mile from the playground. Lynn lives 4/6 of a mile from the playground. Crosby lives 7/8 of a mile from the playground. Part A. Who lives closer to the playground, George or Lynn? Explain how you know. Well, we know that George lives 5/6 of a mile and Lynn lives 4/6 of a mile. So we know that 5/6 and 4/6 have the same what? Denominator. So I can compare numerators. We know that 4 is less than 5. Excuse me, sorry. So 4/6 is less than 5/6. Okay, so part B, who lives closer to the playground, George or Crosby? Explain how you know. Well, we know that George lives 5/6 miles from the playground, and Crosby lives 7/8 mile. So 5/6 and 7/8, do they have the same numerator? No. Do they have the same denominator? No. So we have to use what? I can use missing pieces strategy. So we know that 5/6 is going to have a larger missing piece because 8ths is cut into smaller pieces since there's more of them. Excuse me. Hold on just a second. Sorry, everyone. My apologies. Okay. So 5/6 will have a larger missing piece than 7/8. So 5/6 is less than 7/8, and George is closer because we know that since 5/6 is less than 7/8, that means he's closer, so George is closer to the playground. Oops. Alright. You can pause if you need to copy that down. I'm going to move on to page 555. Number 13. Ming needs half a pint of red paint for an art project. He has 6 jars that have the following amounts of red paint in them. He wants to use only 1 jar of paint. Mark all of the jars of paints that Ming could use. Okay, let's make a number line so we can have thirds, fourths, and sixths. Okay, so if we have one whole, okay, 0 to 1, we need to have thirds. So we're going to cut it into thirds. So this is 1/3, 2/3, 3/3. Alright, we also need fourths. So let's cut it into fourths. So 4/4 we know is there. So we have 1/4, 2/4, and 3/4, and then 4/4. We also need sixths. So we have this is also 6/6. We have so 1/6 is the same as, or 2/6 is the same as 1/3. 3/6 4/6 is the same as 2/3, and then 5/6. Okay, well, we also know that halfway is the same as 2/4. So if we're halfway, okay, so he wants, I'm going to get a different color to use so we can mark that he wants half a pint, okay, so we need half of a pint. Alright, so Ming needs to have at least a half a pint of red paint for an art project. He has 6 jars that have the following amounts of red paint in them. So let's look. If he has 2/3 of a pint, 2/3, is that enough to do his art project? Does he have more than enough? Does he have more than half? He does. So 2/3 is correct. B, 1/4. Well, he needs at least a half. Is 1/4 enough? No, that's less than what he needs. So 1/4 is not correct. C, 4/6. It's 4/6. Is that enough? 4/6 is right here. 4 out of 6. He only needs a half, and he has more than that, so does he have enough? Yes. 4/6 of a pint is enough. What about 3/4? He has 3/4 of a pint, and he only needs a half, so he has more than enough. So is that correct? Yes, it is. Oh, we also have eighths. Okay, so we have eighths. So 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, 5/8, 6/8, 7/8, and 8/8. Alright, so 3/8. Is 3/8 more than or less than a half? It is less than, it is not enough. And what about 2/6? 2/6 is right here. Is that less than or more than a half? It's less than, so it is not enough. There's also another way we can do this. So we know that he needs a half a pint. So 2/3, we can compare it to 1/2. Their numerators and the denominators are not the same, so we're going to draw the picture for this. So we have 1/2, 2/3. We're going to do missing pieces. So we only need this much, and we have this much, so that shows that that is true. So 1/4 and 1/2. So 1/4 and you compare it to 1/2. They have the same numerator, so you can compare the denominator. So we know that 4 has more pieces, so they're going to be smaller. Since there's more pieces, they're going to be smaller than 2. So we know that it's less than a half, so it's not enough. 4/6 with 1/2 pint. So it doesn't have the same numerator or the same denominator, so let's do missing pieces. So we have sixths and we have halves. Here's our half. Then we have 4/6. There's half, but then we need a fourth. So 4/6, there's more paint than what we need, so that is true. 3/4 and 1/2. They have different denominators and different numerators, so we're going to do missing pieces again. 1/2, 3/4, so 3 out of 4. Okay, we only need this much, and we have this much, so do we have enough? Yes, we do. That's why that's correct. 3/8 and 1/2. Different numerators and different denominators. Let's do missing pieces again. There's half. There's 3/8. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we need this and we only have this much. So is that true? It's not true. That's how we know that one is not correct. And last but not least, 2/6 and 1/2. Different numerators, different denominators. Let's do missing pieces. We need half. We have 2/6. 1, 2. We need this much and we only have this much. It's not enough, so that's not true. There you go. Alright, moving on to number 14. There are 12 people having lunch. Each person wants 1/3 of a sub sandwich. How many whole sub sandwiches are needed? Use the models to show your answer. Well, there are 12 people and each wants 1/3 of a sub. So if this is a sub, let's cut it into thirds. We'll cut all the subs into thirds. Each sub sandwich was cut into thirds. That's how we decided this. And we need 12 people, each wants 1/3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 1 whole, 2 whole, 3 whole, 4 whole sub sandwiches. We'll shade this in. 1, 2, 3 people, 4, 5, 6 people, 7, 8, 9 people, 10, 11, 12 people. So 1, 2, 3, 4 sub sandwiches. Number 15. Mavis mixed 2/4 quart of apple juice with 1/2 quart of cranberry juice. Compare the fractions and choose the symbol that makes the statement true. Well, they have different numerators and different denominators, so let's do missing pieces. Okay. Oops. Okay, so 2/4, 1 out of 2. Is this one smaller than this one? No. Is it bigger than this one? No. They're equal. So 2/4 is equal to 1/2. Number 16. Pat has 3 pieces of fabric that measure 3/6, 5/6, and 2/6 yards long. Write the lengths in order from least to greatest. Okay, so we have let's make them all into sixths. Okay, 3/6, 1, 2, 3/6 for the first one. There's 1, there's 2, there's 3. Okay, the second one's 5/6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, there's the second one. The third one is 2/6, 1, 2. Which one has the least? 2/6. So 2/6 is the least. So 2/6 is less than what's next. This one's the shortest next, so that's 3/6. And then that's less than what's left. 5/6. Okay. And then moving on to page 556. Cora measures the heights of 3 plants. Draw a line to match each height on the left to the word on the right that describes its place in the order of heights. Okay, well, if we have, they're all going to be equal. The heights of the plants are all equal. Okay, so 4/6 of a foot. So we'll turn this one into sixths. So 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1/6 of a foot for the first one. 4/4, so we're going to turn this into fourths, so 4 equal parts. So 4/4 of a foot, 4 out of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 out of 4. Look, that's the entire whole. And then 4/8, so we're going to turn this into eighths. Okay, so 4/8, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, which one has the least? This one has the least, so that's 4/8, so 4/8 is the least. Which one has the greatest? The greatest is this one, so 4 out of 4 is the greatest. And which one's in the middle of them? This one. This one was sixths, so 4/6 is in between. Great. Alright, Number 18. Danielle drew a model to show equivalent fractions. Use the model to complete the number sentence. Well, so 1/2 is equal to, how many groups are shaded? 2 groups are shaded. Out of how many groups total? 1, 2, 3, 4. And how many individual pieces are shaded? How many units are shaded? 1, 2, 3, 4 are shaded out of how many total? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we know that 1/2 is equal to, or equivalent to, 2/4, which is equivalent to 4/8. Number 19. Floyd caught a fish that weighed 2/3 of a pound. Kira caught a fish that weighed 7/8 of a pound. Whose fish weighed more? Explain the strategy used to solve the problem. Well, we have to think, does it have the same numerator? No. Does it have the same denominator? No. So we know that we have to use what? Missing pieces. So missing pieces from 2/3 is 1/3. So missing pieces from 2/3, you have 1 left, right? So if you have 1, 2/3, so you have missing pieces from 2/3 is 1/3. Then you have missing pieces from 7/8, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so there's 1 left, so 1/8. So we know that 1/8 is less than 1/3, right? So 1/8 is less than 1/3. And the fraction with the smallest missing piece is, so this fraction is larger because the missing piece is smaller. So, who is it? Who caught the larger one? Who caught the larger one? Kira. And it was her what? Her fish. Kira's fish. Okay. And last but not least, number 20. Sam went for a ride on a sailboat. The ride lasted 3/4 of an hour. What fraction is equivalent to 3/4? 1, 2, 3 out of 4 groups are shaded. So let's look at the individual pieces that are shaded. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces are shaded out of how many total? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 6/8. So 6/8 is equal to 3/4.